The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Capital City, Alaska, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 38205. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting first, just under the front bumper, you'll find 2 tow hooks. These are not intended for towing. These are firefighter operational, 6,000-pound direct pull only. You'll also find dual air horns located just under the front bumper. Located in the center, you'll find your mechanical siren. As we move up onto the top of the bumper extension, you'll find 2 D handles which gain you access into the storage location. Moving to the outer edge, you'll find marker indicators, and just inside that location on the passenger side, you'll find the fire bell. Let's move up onto the cab. On the outer edge of the cab, you'll find a marker turn indicator light. Just inside that structure is your headlights, housing low and high beam headlights. The high beam is located on the inside. Just up from that, emergency warning lights forward facing. There are 2 windshield wipers across the front windshield, and also on the A-pillar is where you'll find your mirror housing a flat and convex mirror. Moving up onto the brow of the apparatus, there are 5 identification clearance lights. Located in the center, forward-facing floodlight, and as we move up onto the roof, it's where you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Located within inside the center of the light bar is the Opticom. Let's go ahead and take a look at some close-ups of the items that we just talked about. First, an angled shot here of the front bumper extension, and then an access inside the storage location. Let's move around and take a look at the side of the vehicle from the driver perspective, and then we'll focus in on the cab section next, starting with your front wheel, where you'll have Michelin tires and Alcoa wheel. Moving forward to that location to the bumper extension, it's where you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light. As we move up onto the front, you'll find the marker turn indicator light, and then easily accessible with a gloved hand. These are the combination door lock and latch, and they are keyed. Right next to that is the grab handle for maintaining 3 points of contact while getting in or out of the cab. As we move directly over the front axle, you'll find an emergency warning light, side-facing, part of the lower emergency warning lights. Up onto the A-pillar is where you'll find your mirror housing a flat and convex mirror, and up onto the roof you'll find a side-facing scene light. Let's move toward the rear cab area where you'll find a few items here. This is your air inlet, auto eject, and then also shoreline for electrical power and block heater. At the very top, water level gauge. Let's move into the compartments next. We'll identify first the pump panel area. We'll come back to this in detail, and we'll move on to the body section next. Starting first just in front of the rear axle, this is your wheel chock storage location. As we move up, you'll find a marker turn indicator light just above that. There are 2 D handles here which gain access into the storage location for SCBA bottle storage, and then also your diesel fuel location. Directly over the rear axle, emergency warning light, part of the lower emergency warning lights. And at the very top section, these are side-facing scene lights. There are 2 of them at the top section, and an emergency warning light toward the rear section of the hatch compartment. Let's move around to the rear of the apparatus, first starting with a brake, turn, and reverse light. There are also emergency warning lights at the rear, one in the lower section and one in the upper section. Also, rear-facing scene lights are located here, both on passenger and on the driver's side. Let's move now to a few more items, first starting with the traffic advisor recessed here. And then as we move up, you'll find 2 rear discharges. They are 2.5 inch, one on the passenger and one on the driver's side. Directly in the center is your backup camera. Then as we move up, you'll find a D handle will gain you access into ladder storage, and we'll come back to this in just a few moments. Let's move around now to the passenger side of the vehicle, full view, and then we'll focus in next on the body section. For the most part, same configuration and layout, except for the exhaust is located on this side. We also have a pump panel on this side. We'll cover that in great detail. And then onto the cab section next. Same configuration and layout except for the air inlet. Let's move into the driver's space. Let's first start with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, grab handle, door lock combination latch, and also window controls. Let's go ahead and move into this space next, into the driver's space. We'll start first at the step level. Each of those steps do house lighting for NFPA requirements. As we move inside, you'll find this yellow placard indicating the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, the gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation. It also houses information regarding fluid capacities for each component, fluid capacity, and then also the fluid type. Let's move to about the left knee of the operator, where you'll find the master battery switch, quarter turn. Also find some switches here for regen inhibit, ABS diagnostics, DPF regen, and engine diagnostic switches. Also for your maintenance team, we have the engine, transmission, ABS diagnostic port, display port, and tech module port. Let's move to the dash, where you'll find your 4-way flashers, and then just below that, your start and ignition switch. As we move just inside of that location, you'll find a switch labeled EM, which stands for Emergency Master. This will engage or disengage all emergency lights with one button. To the right is the headlight switch and panel switch, allowing you to brighten or dim lights within the dash area. On the opposite side of the steering column, you'll find your OK to engage your high idle switch and indicator. As we move up to the dash, you'll find on the left side the transmission, oil, def level, and water temp. On the right, you'll find volts, fuel, front air, and rear air gauges. In the center is the tachometer on the left, speedometer on the right. Diagnostic information regarding your vehicle will display above and below the tachometer and in the text area just below the speedometer and tachometer. To the right, you'll find your system parking brake. Pull to apply, push to release. This is the rear spring brake. Also to the right, your backup camera, speaker, volume control on the face of the speaker housing. General view here to the right of the driver's space. Let's focus on a few more items here within this area. First, pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. Once again, rear spring brake, and then also your backup camera speaker. Tremendous amount of information right at your fingertips. This is a touch and also function button screen. As we move to the switches, we have passenger side window, driver's side cab windows, passenger side rear cab windows, mirror heat, driver's side defrost, passenger side defrost fan. Also, retarder on and off, auto apply, water pump, foam system, off-road traction, and tire chains. Allison transmission pad, informational note to pump and neutral with a digital readout. As we move just down from that location, you'll find your radio push to talk and also flat and convex mirror control. In the center section, just a few more items within this area. At the very top section, you're going to find 12-volt access. And in the lower section, this is part of your Easy Track system. This is the left, rear, and also Easy Track mode and Easy Track function buttons. Let's move just to the right, where you'll find your unit radio and then also your siren control and PA speaker system module. Below that, you'll find defrost and heat control modules. As we move to the rear, you'll find 2 forward-facing seats that do house SCBA brackets. Just behind the driver's seat, you'll find the auto charger. When plugged into Shoreline Power, this will activate. As we move to the exterior, once again, Alcoa wheel, Michelin tires. This vehicle also has the Easy Track system for 4-wheel drive capabilities. As we move to the rear cab, let's identify a few items within this space. First, affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, window control. Overhead, push on and off white or red lens lights, your intercom system, and then also EMS compartments with netting and also LED lights inside. General view. Let's move back into the driver's space, where you'll find this yellow placard indicating the height of the vehicle, 10 feet 10 inches, the length of the vehicle, 32 feet 8.5 inches, and a gross vehicle weight rating 52,000 pounds. This also houses the 5-digit job number 38250-02. To the right, we have some switches here. First, emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, upper rear warning, low intensity, and air horn. Also, front scene, driver scene, passenger scene, rear scene, siren brake, and also your load manager. To the right of that, traffic advisor control module. And as we move further to the right of this location, you'll find your seatbelt information. Red, someone is in the seat and not belted. Green, they are in the seat and belted. Overhead, you'll find do not move your apparatus if this light is flashing, indicating you may have a compartment open or door ajar. There are also 2 fans located at the roof level. Moving now to the rear portion, you have additional EMS compartment or storage locations, dry deck material, and LED lighting inside those compartments. As we move into the section behind the driver's seat, once again, battery charger when plugged into Shoreline Power, this is activated. At the rear portion of the engine, this is for your daily checks for oil and transmission. This is your access panel. To the rear of the officer seat, you'll find the control module for the EQ2B. This is your electronic mechanical siren. As we move now to the rear portion of the cab, you'll find an SCBA bracket located on the rear cab wall. Let's go ahead now and move to the exterior portion of the vehicle. We'll start on the driver's side and work our way back. First, starting with the rear portion of the cab wall. At the very top section, you'll find your Shoreline inlet, and then just below that in the blue is your block heater. Below that is your auto charge status center and also your air inlet auto eject. Let's move to the crosslay now in the upper section. This is additional hose storage. As we move to the lower section, you'll find crosslay number 1 and also crosslay number 2. Both of these are foam capable discharges. Also a warning placard indicating entanglement hazard. Because of those lines coming from aloft, there is the possibility of entanglement. Let's move down to the pump panel area. We'll identify a few items here. There are 2 2.5-inch discharges located on this side. Driver's side number 1, which is locally controlled via the ball valve, and driver's side number 3, which is locally controlled via a ball valve. As we move to the right, a warning placard indicating pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. The American Flag Eagle is your large diameter pump inlet. In the upper right, this is your foam auxiliary inlet. Also a warning placard here. When climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. Down in the lower right, you'll find the driver's side auxiliary inlet. This is a 2.5-inch locally controlled via the ball valve. Across the bottom, all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. As we move to the step area, this is a fold-out step connected to the do not move your apparatus. As we move to the pump panel, we'll start at the very top section with this light indicating that your pump is properly engaged. As we move to the bottom, you'll find a digital readout here for crosslays 1, 2, driver rear and passenger rear. Also a pump overheat indicator. Also 2 gauges located here. Master gauge pump intake and master gauge pump discharge. In between the 2 of those are the test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. They're currently plugged and are utilized for testing purposes. As we move to the right, you'll find the PCM fault indicator visually and also audible. The audible outer edge of that bezel does rotate to increase or decrease sound. All of our controls for our discharges for crosslays 1, 2, and the rear discharges. Husky foam system, this is the control module for it in red. As you move to the right, this is your pump boss. This is the pressure throttle governor. As we move down, you'll find in red module, this is the foam level indicator for tank A, 20 gallon capacity, and then also the blue section, which is your water tank level indicator. Let's move down from this location where you'll find the recirculating line. It is a twist, not a pull. And as we move down, you'll find the tank fill and tank to pump. Moving just to the right is the deluge discharge. As we move further to the right, you'll find the Husky 12 foam system specifications and also foam system instructions for its operation. As we move further to the right, you have an air primer. This is a push to prime. For best practices, at least 1,000 RPM. Also, we have electric valves. There are 3. Passenger side inlet, auxiliary, and also 2 and large diameter on the passenger side. Also a reminder, only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment. It's only after proper training. As we move down, you'll find the push to talk for your intercom system and also a connection port. As we move to the very bottom, all of our color-coded labeled discharge drains. Behind the pan door, this is your access location for the foam valve, for horizontal position and also vertical position for foam fill. The handle matches the description on the portion of the door rear. Also a red protected switch. This is your manual pump shift override. Let's move further down on the pump panel across the very bottom. Once again, color-coded and labeled discharge drains. As we move to the vertical side sheet, you'll find additional switches here for driver's side, passenger side, cargo light, and an air horn switch. Also, minimum operation and maintenance schedule is located here. Within the same pump panel area, you'll find 2 lower section drawers. In the upper section, you'll find adjustable shelves. As we move to the overwheel compartment, forward of the rear axle, you'll find SCBA bottle storage for 2 bottles with retaining straps. In the compartment itself, 4 locations here for SCBA bottle brackets. As we move to the rear axle, Michelin tires and Alcoa wheels. Now let's move to the rear portion of the axle where you'll find your ultra low sulfur diesel fuel, which is the silver cap. And then as we move the flap downward, it will expose the blue cap, which is your DEF fill location. Moving now to the next compartment toward the rear, you'll find adjustable shelves, and at the very bottom section, you're going to find dry deck material and LED lighting. All compartments open now on the driver's side. Let's move around to the rear of the apparatus. We'll identify a few items here. First, ladder storage, 24-foot extension, 14-foot roof. As we move up to the upper section, 10-foot folding ladder, and then long-handled tool storage. As we move to the hose bed area, you'll find movable hose bed dividers, and then also on the rear bulkhead, you'll find 3 fold-down steps for gaining access above this space. Here is the folding ladder and then also long-handled tool storage. As we move down, once again, 24-foot extension, 14-foot roof. Further down are the control modules for driver's side hose bed 1 and passenger side hose bed cover 2. Once again, crossbed dividers that you have cutouts for reach over. As we move to the very bottom section, a few warning placards here indicating pressure hazard, caps may be under pressure. Also entanglement hazard, because of those lines coming from the hose bed area, there is the possibility of entanglement. As we move further to the left, you'll find the driver's side rear discharge. It is foam capable. Also to the passenger side rear discharge, also foam capable. A few more warning placards located here. First, never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. Also, when climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. Let's move around now to the passenger side of the vehicle. We'll start at the very rear section with a tool board. D-handle gains you access into the rear portion of the space. When it is open, it will lock into position. Release is located on the hinge side. In the lower section, you'll find a pull-out tray, release mechanism for that tray located on the lower right-hand side. As we move now to the overwheel compartment, you'll find SCBA bottle storage or pack storage, along with additional SCBA storage in the front and rear wheel wells for 3 bottles to the front and 3 bottles to the rear, also with retaining straps. We'll now move forward to this location to your exhaust location. Extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist. Be cautious where you park your vehicle during regen operation. As we move into this compartment, you have a pull-out tray in the lower section, and the upper portion you'll find your inverter located here. And then also Shoreline inverted power outlets. adjustable shelves, pull-out tray, release located on the lower right-hand side. Let's move now to the midsection, where you'll find, once again, same configuration and layout as you had on the driver as you do on the passenger side. Hose storage location in the upper section. As we move down in the lower section, crosslay 1 and crosslay 2. As we move down to the pump panel area, we'll identify a few items, starting first with warning information. Once again, when climbing on or off the vehicle, face the vehicle. Also, warning regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. At the very top, we have a danger sticker here indicating danger because of the movement of that cab and the possibility of crush injury. So we have that information there. Also, water strainers located at the very top section. As we move down from this, you'll find your Pierce logo American Flag Eagle. This is the large diameter pump inlet on the passenger side. Also, once again, cab lift located. There are instructions for raising and lowering the cab. Please ensure all items are secure in the cab. The 2.5-inch discharge located on this side is an electric valve, so therefore there is an override located here. Along with the passenger side auxiliary inlet, there is an override here. Once again, electric valve. Large diameter discharge is also an electric valve, so there is an override for it. It's located here on the right-hand side. Also, warning, pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. Across the very bottom, all the color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Also, the fold-out step is attached to the Do Not Move Your apparatus. As we move forward to this location, we're into the cab section next. We'll start first with the cab rear section and the door panel. A fixed door panel, safety and warning placard information, grab handle, electric window control, and door locks. Overhead, push on and off red or white lens lights. Also your intercom system. As we move through the various contents inside the cab area, we'll move now back to the exterior section. Emergency warning light, and then also the air inlet. There is a filter inside this space. And then to the front axle, once again, Alcoa wheel, Michelin tire. Then as we move to the cab functions in the officer space, let's start first with the door panel. Affixed to that door panel are safety and warning placard information, grab handle, electric window control, and your door release lock mechanism. Your vehicle also is equipped with a supplemental restraint system, an airbag. It's located here in the upper bolster and also in the steering area. To the right of that location, you're going to find the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. Just above this, you do have a compartment above the airbag in the dash area, and then also the rope for your fire bell. You will find these throughout the vehicle. These are warning placards indicating spare wiring behind the panel. It will have the option number and then also the wire termination. Siren brake, electric EQ2B, radio push to talk, and siren brake. Once again, spare wiring behind the panel, identified and labeled for the option number. Overhead, you'll find a map light in the very center, downward facing on the dash area, your intercom system for squelch and volume control. Just to the left of this location is a digital readout for your speedometer. Let's go ahead and take a look at the vehicle. All compartments open now. And then we'll move up onto the top section of the vehicle, specifically into the dunnage area, where you'll find 2 D handles gaining access into this space. As we move down, we'll just point out a few things here. First, this is the hydraulic oil reservoir. Just on the front section of this is a visual sight gauge indicator, and then also the fill location for the hydraulic oil reservoir. To the right, also fill location for another reservoir, hydraulic. And then also as we move to the next image, you should have a visual sight gauge here on this side of the hydraulic reservoir. As we move to the dunnage area, once again, top fill water location. This is your water tank. Just forward of this location is the Tank A foam system tank. And on the top of that tank, you will find a warning placard. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. Quick view to the rear portion of the apparatus. And then now let's go ahead and move into the roof section where you'll find at the very top, this is a non-walking surface. We do have the cab tilted, but I wanted to point that out. These are the warning placards here for that space on the top of the roof area. As we move now to the undercarriage, you'll find your tow hooks located here. These are specifically for towing the vehicle. As we move to the forward section, these tow hooks are operational use and are 6,000 pounds direct pull only. As we move into the steerage linkage, and now we'll move into the engine compartment space. First, identifying to the rear of the engine is your daily checks for oil and transmission dipsticks. Also, the power steering reservoir here, which has a visual sight gauge and also a dipstick. You will find when the cab has been tilted, please place the safety bar into position. Do not lower the cab onto the safety bar. Maintain equal pressure on both left and right cab cylinders. This is showing your Easy Track system here in the very front. As we move into some more components here, this is the positive and negative jumper studs. This is just underneath the battery box. Additional chassis photos as we move toward the rear of the apparatus. Just to the forward section of the rear axle. Rear axle is where you'll find your tire chains. And then as we move toward the rear of the apparatus, just to the rear portion of the fuel tank, located in the very top section, this is the main rear portion of your electrical power outlet. There'll be no additional audio from this point on. Congratulations, Capital City, Alaska, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 38205. If you have any additional questions, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.